Hey parents, I am super excited because God has laid it on my heart to specifically connect with our fifth and sixth graders. And with that being said, I have created a program and a 10-week process that influences and develops your child, fifth and sixth graders, to grow deeper in the Lord. And my whole heart, there's three folds and three purposes to this program. And number one is that they strengthen their relationship with God and that they grow deeper and deeper in the Lord. And it's not anybody else's faith, it's not your faith or the church's faith or anybody else's faith that they develop, but it's their personal walk with God takes that next step. And that's what we want to do in this program. The second part to it is we want to make sure that the transition from sixth grade to seventh grade and to youth group is smooth and there's a connection there. I personally take responsibility, but I don't think we're doing the best job that we can here at First Assembly. So this program is to help do that as well. A third part of it is that I want to give opportunities for your child to serve in children's ministry on Sunday. And this is because once you get to about fifth or sixth grade, and some of you may be finding this already with your child, is that they're kind of a little bit too old for kids' church, but they're not quite a youth yet. So I wanted to focus on the fifth and sixth graders developing their spiritual gifts, understanding their personalities, and then giving them opportunities to serve on a Sunday morning in children's ministry to find out what they like, or at least find out what they really don't like. And so they'll have opportunities to serve in worship, to serve in different areas of KidMin. And I wanted to do that so that your child can develop a close relationship with the Lord, find out their spiritual giftings, and transition from children to youth ministry. So more or less, that's the vision, that we want your child to grow in a deeper relationship with God and transition from children's ministry to youth ministry. And at the same time, develop these leadership skills that will be with them for the rest of their life. It's a 10-week program. And now I'm going to go through a little bit of the nuts and the bolts of what is expected of your child, what they're going to be learning, and also their commitment level, because we want to develop them as leaders. So it takes a higher commitment than just attending Sunday service. The first thing that I want to explain about this program is that it's both a Wednesday afternoon and a Sunday morning commitment. And I treat it more or less like an extracurricular activity in that time slot. So from 2:30 to 5:30 on Wednesday will be our time with children's ministry. Then your child, if they're in sixth grade, will be required to attend youth group, because we want to make sure that your child is also being fed. And also that's the part where we're transitioning them from sixth grade to youth group. We want to make sure that there is that smooth transition. We're requiring all of our sixth graders to attend youth group as well on a Wednesday evening. So your student will be at First Assembly from about 2:30 all the way to about 8. And so it's a long night. So with that, I'm going to go through the schedule. Don't worry, we feed them dinner, but I'm just going to quickly go through the schedule. So from 2:30 to 3:30, when they arrive, they'll be arriving within that hour or so. The first thing we have them do is their homework. And it's kind of, as leaders, I'll be here, and I'll have some other leaders as well. We'll be here to more or less supervise them and making sure that their homework is getting done. If they need some simple help that we can help them with, we'll help them. Of course, we'll help them with that. If your student has already finished their homework, we're going to start plugging them into servanthood projects, or projects around the church where they can help out and develop that servant attitude in their heart. So we just don't want them, if they're super smart and they get their homework done before 3:30, we don't just want them to sit there and do nothing. No, we want to make sure that we are valuing their time and developing them in every part of this AMP leadership program. So from 2:30 to 3:30, they do their homework. We want to make sure they finish all of their homework before they move on to next sections. Now from 3:30 to about 4:45 or so, it's our discipleship track. And so I'm be sending you the scope and sequence, what each week they'll be learning in each session. But more or less, this is the place where we will be discipling your student to grow deeper in the Lord. And so with that being said, I don't want it just to be a lecture format. So it's not just going to be, okay, here's the story of David and Goliath and who killed Goliath. No, it's not going to be that type of discipleship program. I want discussion. I want them to learn how to apply the Word of God to their hearts and their lives. And so a lot of the curriculum that we're using does that. It teaches the child not just to know the correct answer, but to apply that answer to their life. So that's from about 3:30 to 4:45. Now from 4:45 to 5:30, this is the Sunday preparation time. And so this is where we'll teach your student how to use the computer on a Sunday morning, how to engage children in worship, how to lead a game, even how to lead a small group. That's one of our goals and milestones, that we want to empower each student to lead their peers in a small group. And I feel like this is one of the most exciting times for the student and for us, because we are now empowering them and equipping each of these students to lead and to give them opportunities to serve on a Sunday morning. Now at 5:30 for the 5th graders, we're asking the parents to come and pick them up at 5:30. For everybody else, they will then go to the small group time for youth. And so small group time for youth, our leaders will be staying there from 5:30 to 6:30, and we will be feeding all the 6th graders dinner at that time, because they'll be staying for the rest of the night with youth group. And so we're going to be using this time to build relationships with each student as we're eating dinner and having that small group time. I'm partnering with Pastor Josh, and he's going to be sending a youth leader to this 6th grade small group, and so that they can build relationships as well. So over this 10-week period, my heart and desire is that they will like youth group so much that after we stop requiring them to attend youth group after the 10 weeks, then they will want to go to youth on their own and want to seek God and have that deep relationship with God on their own, without me or the program requiring them to do so. And so from 6:30 now, that's when youth group starts. Then that's where we hand over, or we transition now for Pastor Josh to that's where we hand over to Pastor Josh for your student to attend youth group as a youth. Now for those 5th grade students, this particular session here it will end in the last week of May, and we have moved up our promotion day. So once your 5th grade graduates and gets promoted to 6th grade at the end of May, they are now actually allowed to come to youth group from that point forward. So don't worry, your 5th graders, for 5th grade parents, we are still wanting to make sure that they're going to be transitioning as well to the youth as soon as they get promoted to 6th grade. Now, so that's the Wednesday. That's kind of more or less the rundown of how Wednesdays will work, from 2:30 all the way to 6:30, to 2:30 to 5:30, and for the 6th graders through youth group. Now, there is also a Sunday morning commitment that we want to make sure that we are giving adequate opportunities for these children to develop their leadership capability and serve on a Sunday morning. So we are asking every student to come to our 10:15 service on a Sunday morning, and that is their commitment to be there to serve. We'll be making assignments on Wednesday. We'll be walking through the how to run a game, how to lead small, whatever their assignment is. We'll be running through that on a Wednesday to prepare them for Sunday, so that when they come on Sunday, they're able to serve and be able to be equipped to serve as well. We don't just want to throw them out there and see if they sink or swim. No, we want to equip them on a Wednesday so that by the time Sunday comes around, they are ready to lead their peers. They're ready to do each of the tasks that we've assigned them to do. And so that is a greater commitment on the parents. We want to make sure that the child is there, the student is there every Sunday for those 10 weeks. And so those are the commitment times for this AMP leadership program. I'm super excited because I've seen when we allow children to lead, they're going to start to develop these giftings, these spiritual gifts from a young age. And so I want to make sure that we make every opportunity for these children to lead. I pray that as I've been explaining the vision and some of the nuts and bolts of AMP AMP Leadership. I pray that it resonates with you as a parent, that you want to see your child develop to the person, the man or that woman that God has called them to be. And I feel like AMP Leadership gives an opportunity for your child to grow in their walk with the Lord, in application and opportunity, developing spiritual gifts, developing and understanding what leadership is, and giving them opportunities now to apply these things directly on a Sunday morning. So attached to this email, I have a scope and sequence of the 10 weeks of AMP Leadership. So we are charging $75 for AMP Leadership, and this is to help the cost with the curriculum and different expenses during our 10-week period. Now, if the $75 is a lot and your budget is really constrained right now, reach out to me and we can probably find some scholarships. We can work something out. So with the payment of the $75, it helps to cover the prayer journal that we've ordered, the curriculum that they'll be discipled with, as well as some of the other costs. They'll be getting a t-shirt at the end of AMP Leadership, kind of signifying that they made it. So with that being said, it is a leadership program. So there is actually room for your child to fail, to your child to get disqualified. We'll be grading every child, each student, every week on different things like, did they do their memory verse? Did they do their devotions? Our rule is a 3-strike rule. So if they strike out 3 times, then they are disqualified from the program. Now, with that being said, most of the items are on a scale. So they are asked to do a devotion every single day and journal about it. And so if they miss like 1 or 2 days, then it's not a strike per se, because it's a scale. But if they don't do any devotionals for the whole week, that becomes a strike, because that's not fair to the other students who are putting in the time and the effort to seek God and do their devotion every single day. And so one of the strictest areas of the strike rule is in attendance. And we are very strict on attendance, that there is no excused absences. And the purpose for that is because if a student misses one session, either a Sunday or a Wednesday, they're missing a lot of content, and each week the content builds on each other. Now, I understand, sometimes if there's a family emergency, like a passing of a loved one, or, your child gets sick of that nature, then there is ways to make up a strike in those exceptions to the rule. But if you as a parent or the child just doesn't feel like coming, or as a parent you don't feel like dropping them off, that would be considered a strike, and 3 strikes and the student is out. Now, the reason why we allow a student to possibly be disqualified, there's 2 reasons. One, it keeps them at a higher standard and keeps them motivated to do every assignment and to be in attendance for every single session. The second part to it, and I like this part more so, is that in life you can fail. And I want to teach our students early on that there is a possibility of failure when we don't hold up our end of the commitment. Now, I would rather have them learn this lesson early on in life, in 5th or 6th grade, that yes, it's possible to fail, than learn it later on in life when they're making bigger decisions and making long-term commitments or different things of that nature, and they're going to have a bigger consequence if they fail in those large decisions or long-term commitments. And so that is the 2 reasons why we allow the possibility for disqualification. Now, with that being said, we do work with every student. So if a student gets a strike, they are absent, or they don't fulfill any of their assignments or whatever, then we are talking with them. We're encouraging them. We're making sure they understand that if you get 2 more strikes, then you're disqualified and you don't get to come to our celebration day. And if a student gets a strike, we don't just dismiss them. We work with them until that 3rd strike point. So if they get 1 strike, we're there encouraging them, helping them to see the value of holding up their end of the commitment, the value of doing what we say we were going to do from the onset, and trying to motivate them to do the best that they can to fulfill the commitment they made to AMP Leadership. Thank you so much for your time. We are going to be launching AMP Leadership on March 24th, and I am very excited, and I am inviting you to partner with me as well as your student to develop and reach this next generation. And so some of the things that need to happen now if you want to join this AMP Leadership, or you want your child to join this AMP Leadership, there are 3 forms to fill out. The first form is for your student to fill out the student application form. The second form is going to be as parents, we have a parent commitment form that we understand that 6th graders can't drive. And so if the parent is not committed to dropping off and picking up, the student can't make it and they can possibly get a strike. And so we ask the parents to make the simple commitment of making sure that their student is able to make the different sessions that they're required to be there, as well as kind of help along the way too, to check up on them here and there with their assignments that they are getting and taking home. After you turn those things in, I will review the application, and I'm going to be choosing just 10 to 12 students for this session. So if your student doesn't get in this time, don't worry, we are going to be repeating AMP Leadership in the next quarter or 2 to make sure this is an ongoing process to transition a 6th grader to 7th grade for youth group and youth ministry. Thank you so much for your time, and as you prayerfully consider sending your student to AMP Leadership, I pray that even though it's a little bit more of a time commitment on you as a parent, I believe that little bit extra time commitment for you on Wednesdays and Sundays, that it will give a great eternal return in your child's life. I pray that each AMP Leadership student will feel and understand. I pray that each AMP Leadership student will experience God in a personal way, and it will stick with them for the rest of their life. So if you want to sign up your student for AMP Leadership, go ahead and look at those application forms and commitment forms and get those back to me as soon as possible. Thank you, and I will see you soon.